Hi everybody, it's me, Corrie Sommers, your local Los Angeles luxury realtor. Today we're going to be talking about the city of West Hollywood. I'm kind of excited about this one. There's a lot of information, which is why I'm excited. And it has a history that I didn't even really know about. We all kind of know about West Hollywood. Well, there's the obvious, which I'm going to get into. So, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please take a moment to subscribe below and click the bell for updates, and I'll be right back. West Hollywood. Some of you have heard of West Hollywood before, right? I mean, we've all heard of Hollywood in general, but West Hollywood is its own little unique area. It's a city. So it's not just located in Los Angeles, it's actually its own city. And it's bounded by Beverly Hills on one side, Hollywood Hills to the north, and on the other side, it's the Fairfax District and Beverly Grove, that's the southwest side. It's kind of an irregular boundary, if you will, and it's actually captured in its own logo. It was largely formed to kind of encompass this unincorporated area that hadn't become a part of the surrounding cities, and it became home to both the Sunset Strip and the Hollywood Strip. Of course, we all know the Hollywood stars that everyone comes out to visit. Oh. And yet it's got so much more than just that. I'm going to go ahead and state the obvious. West Hollywood has long been known as one of the largest gay villages in America, if you will. It's also really known for its nightclubs. I mean, no matter what type of music genre you are into, whether it's rock, whether it's heavy metal, whether it's reggae, whether it's hip hop, there are clubs in West Hollywood that have always been and probably always will be the place to be. That said, some of the more famous ones that you've probably heard of include Chateau Marmont. There's many comedy clubs. There's the Whiskey Go-Go. And Santa Monica Boulevard, which is a predominant thoroughfare throughout West Hollywood, is flanked by boutiques and bars and gay bars and dance clubs and shops and you know, just depending on what you see in the mirror, or not the mirror, but in the windows, you kind of get a sense of where you're at when you're driving through. That said, it also has some of the city's most buzzworthy restaurants and has been attracting people that are not gay or transgender or all these other groups now. So the culture is kind of expanding a little bit, if you will. There's a couple famous streets that intersect through Sunset Boulevard, such as La Cienega. And another street that's very widely known is Alta Loma. Now, Alta Loma is home to the Sunset Marquis, which is a very famous hotel. And it's one of the main locations for the film Perfect. The stretch of Melrose Avenue between Fairfax and Doheny is also very popular thanks to trendy shopping. It's a great place to go. It's literally known as Melrose, right? And of course, there was a TV show back in the day modeled after that. What many people outside of Los Angeles don't realize is this is also a very high concentration of things related to interior design. In fact, the design center is over there. So if you're not into real estate or interior design or architecture, you might not be aware of that. And so at the west end of Melrose Avenue is the Pacific Design Center, which is also known for very, very exclusive furniture. Now, the areas around Fountain Avenue, Harper Avenue, and Havenhurst contain a large number of landmark 1920s Spanish Revival and Art Deco apartment buildings that were built by notable architects like Leland Bryant. This historic district has been home to many celebrities over the years. The Sunset Town at 8358 Sunset Boulevard was home to Frank Sinatra, Earl Flynn, the Gabor sisters, John Wayne, and even Howard Hughes at one point. So a lot of iconic history in West Hollywood. Being that West Hollywood has about a third of its population identifying as gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, it's really become a leader in showcasing how to protect and advocate for such rights in the LGBT community. And it's become one of the trendiest spots for basically destination gay vacations and travelers. Now, it's also super dense. And because it's dense, there's a lot of walkability going on in West Hollywood, which is why there's so many great restaurants. Literally, it's one of the most walkable parts of Los Angeles with a walkability score of 89 for all those that are interested in that sort of a thing. when it comes to the actual history about West Hollywood and its development, writings began about the 18th century when Portuguese explorer, I want to say Juan Rodriguez Cabrera claimed that they had actually already claimed the area for Spain. That was also a little bit up for debate. But there was around 5,000 indigenous inhabitants from the Toluca Indian tribe. If you remember, I've spoken about them before. They were in Santa Monica, they were in Pacific Palisades, they were in different parts of the Los Angeles basin. And so by 1770, these native people had been severely ravaged by the diseases that came over from Europe thanks to all of the colonization. Yes, thank you, Europe, for bringing over disease to America. Woo! I know I'm being a little silly today. It's been a long day. So getting back to things, by 1780, what became the Sunset Strip was just a popular connection road for the El Pueblo de Los Angeles and all the ranches westward of Pacific Ocean. So they basically use this as a main travel route. This land passed through the hands of various owners during the next 100 years, and it was named La Brea, it was named Plummer, it was several other names that are all recorded in the historical records, but most of the area was known as Rancho La Brea and eventually became owned by the Henry Hancock family. So during the final decade of the 19th century, the first large land development, which later became West Hollywood, was the town of Sherman, which was established by Moses Sherman and his partners, the Los Angeles Pacific Railroad, which was a railroad line that later became part of the Pacific Electric Railroad system. Now, of course, Sherman sounds familiar. There's Sherman Oaks. Obviously, there's a theme here. And Sherman became the location of the railroad's main shops, railroad yards, and car barns. And so many working class people, employees settled along West Hollywood to support their work, right? So for many decades, the area that is now West Hollywood was an unincorporated part of the city of Los Angeles. Because gambling was illegal in Los Angeles in the 1920s, the city saw a proliferation of casinos and nightclubs all along Sunset Boulevard, which of course still stands today. And it starts basically from downtown and runs all the way westward. So the businessmen were immune from some of the heavy handling law enforcement of the LA Police Department back in those days. Wouldn't that be nice if we were all that way today? Some people that were less connected with movie making were also attracted to this less restricted part of the county, and a number of architecturally distinctive apartment buildings were built. Many interior designers and decorators came flooding in as well, which is why the area is so rich when it comes to interior design and the design center. In 1984, the West Hollywood community organized to maintain rent control. When Los Angeles began to discount and discontinue rent control, they decided to take a stand, and West Hollywood was a densely populated area of renters, many who wouldn't have been able to afford the rising rents. So the tight coalition of seniors, Jews, gays, and renters, they formed the Coalition for Economic Survival, and they voted to incorporate West Hollywood as a city. And of course, they adopted one of the strongest rent controls laws in the entire nation. West Hollywood has a couple of unique annual events that are unique to the population, such as the annual Halloween Carnival. It takes place on October 31st. I'm going to tell you, you do not want to try to drive through West Hollywood during this time. You will get stuck for 3 hours to go 2 blocks. And I can tell you that from experience. It's not fun. It is a Halloween street party that spans over 1 mile along Santa Monica Boulevard, starting at La Cienega all the way to Doheny. So just avoid this on Halloween, unless of course you want to take an Uber and go hang out and see some things. Some of the neighborhoods in West Hollywood include the very affluent Norma Triangle, West Hollywood North, West Hollywood West, West Hollywood East, and West Hollywood Heights. To give you an idea of home pricing in West Hollywood, I'm going to give you an example of the lowest priced home at the time of recording this video, mid-priced home, and the highest priced home on the market. So the first one has an asking price of $1,165,000. It's at 907 Larrabee Street. It's a 690 square foot 1-bedroom home. 690 square foot one bedroom home for $1,165,000. It's on a 1,872 square foot lot. Very small lot, very small home. This is not uncommon for West Hollywood. Now, an updated California bungalow sits here, so it could be a great first home for somebody. The next home, which is a mid-price home, has an asking price of $4.5 million. This is at 853 North Carson Ave. It's a 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom home, 5,670 square feet on a 6,500 square foot lot. That's not a bad size for West Hollywood, actually. A lot of times on the west side, you get lots that are like 5,000 square feet or 5,800 square feet. So a 6,500 square foot lot is actually pretty good. It's a new construction smart home with top of the line designer finishes, as you can see from the photos, a gated circular driveway, and here's the catch, a 360-degree view on the rooftop. Now that is what the money shot is all about. The highest priced home in West Hollywood at the time of recording this video has an asking price of $18 million. It's located at 947 Orange Avenue. This is an 8-bedroom, 10-bathroom, about 9,500 square foot home on a 26,499 lot. So it's a big lot, right? It's basically a designer compound. It's a hidden oasis, a multi-structural, luxurious living, a large guest house, gym, spa, theater, courtyard, and just so much more. It's a truly unique property, hence the price. So hopefully all this information has helped you to get a little familiar about the city of West Hollywood and help you decide if the city of West Hollywood is a place that you should move to, where you should buy a home, where you should live. Again, amazing walkability, great restaurants. There's actually some great workout spots there too. I've been to a couple, and it's just centrally located. For that reason, it's become very, very popular. And of course, there's been so much updating done to it over the last 20 years. It is super cool looking and trendy. So I have a guide below for relocating to the city of Los Angeles, as well as a guide on West Hollywood. So just click in those links. If you are thinking of relocating and you want to talk, you can go ahead and actually schedule a call on my calendar, on that Calendly link below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please take a moment to do so. Click the subscribe button as well as the bell for updates. I have a new video coming to you soon next week.